Hi, Sydney. Welcome in. How you doing? Hope you're well tonight. So, I'm going to be talking a bit about physique inflation. So, this is something that people might have heard of. Um, this phenomenon that they call physique inflation. Um, Good evening, Alfred. Hello, Tommy. How you doing? I don't know if you've seen any of my latest videos, but yeah, we've been putting some shorts out today. So let me just put this. Please like, uh, share, and subscribe. So let's do that, and then we're gonna pin that. Right. So basically, you might have seen some like things on social media where it'll be like, it'll say, um, proof inflation is real, and then it'll like, oh cool, yeah. Oh, you train chest and biceps, right? Okay, yeah, yeah. Did pretty much my whole body today. Um, yeah. So there was this thing about like inflation, like in that what was considered a superhero physique back in the early 2000s now would be considered as mediocre. And that's the kind of thing that people are moaning about. And I actually made a video about this a while ago where I kind of agreed with it and talked about how standards are getting a bit out of control and like, but I think that a lot of this is all social media crap, isn't it? Like a lot of it's just all right, so Ali, how you doing? I hope you're well. A lot of it social media BS where it's like, a lot of it's that obviously people are competing on social media, right? I think people are just bitter because they're like, oh well, if I had this physique back in in the early 2000s, I would have been like a superhero or something. But the thing is that it's just more people have gotten into fitness and building muscle and whatever, and so yeah, standards are going to go up, but we also have more knowledge of and more resources readily available. Like, for example, outdoor equipment, and there would be like tutorials for home workouts and all kinds of stuff. 20 years ago, a lot of people wouldn't have really had access to a lot of these things. So, if anything, it makes it easier for people to get access to like um, knowledge about how to train and stuff like that. And you don't even need to go to a gym if you don't want to. There is ways of doing it without. Um, yeah, what's that? See, I don't watch anything like that. I don't compare to what to know. I don't care who looks like that because I know I will one day master that figure. It's a test of time, but the sad thing is when we get there, we will be very wise. We will be old. Oh yeah, yeah. That's the thing of like aging and yeah. Um. Anyway, but like I was saying, about you know, people having more access to like working out and stuff, and people learning how to optimize their workouts. They would learn things like doing such antagonist supersets, for example. So for people who are short on time, they can actually um, still get a similar rate of progress in a shorter amount of time. So there really isn't any excuses if you want to just get fit. You don't have to get necessarily like huge or anything like that, but if we have more knowledge and more sort of weapons that we can use to like help us to, you know, improve, you know, our fitness or whatever goals you have, then if you are not using that, then you're going to fall behind, right? But like when we are 50, everyone will be weak. Our age, we will be kings. Yeah, that's the thing, is that a lot of people think, oh, well, testosterone goes down as you get old. So you'll end up with these guys on TRT. There's a lot of guys that are like 25, fucking 30 years old and they're already on TRT. It's frigging crazy, right? That they don't even need it. But then I think, you know, there's more and more of the probably people at 50 years old going on that stuff because, you know, if they're quite sedentary and all that and they've not built their muscles, then they're like going to be like, oh, well, I need to go on this to try and, you know, to build muscle, but they should have probably done it when they were younger or something, and, you know, but it's just, yeah, like a lot of people just end up, you know, I think a lot of it's, you know, if you get fat and you're lazy, then yeah, your testosterone's gonna dip. But if you stay active and you stay, you know, the healthy body fat and your, you know, your hormones should probably stay pretty similar. I mean, it shouldn't drop off that much when you're 50, really. Like there's guys who are like in their 50s and they're still, they have a, you know, good testosterone level still, you know, that hasn't really gone down that much. They haven't lost any muscle. They've maintained their muscle throughout their 30s, 40s, 50s. It's only once they get to about probably 60s, 70s when they really start to notice a dip, you know? So, like, there is, yeah, I mean, obviously, we don't have to become like roided and all that stuff, but I think we should be trying to just see where we can go naturally and see what, you know, see how far we can go naturally, because you can probably get bigger than you think, because a lot of people just aren't really putting that much effort in. So it's like, yeah, it is true that like a lot of, you know, there is inflation going on with the, you know, what, you know, it comes to like the bodybuilding stuff. But you get these videos of like someone will say that they've trained for 10 plus years and they look like shit. Like I actually look bigger than a lot of these people. I have more muscle mass than a lot of these people that have been fucking training for 10 years supposedly. It's a joke. I mean, unless they've got really shitty genetics or something, clearly they haven't really been locked in that whole time. Like even the few years I've been training, I haven't been locked in the whole time, and I actually look better than a lot of these people who are saying that they're, you know, that they've been training, you know, multiple times a week for 10 plus fucking years. It's a joke. It's all clickbait. It's almost like rage bait or something. I don't know. It's just they're trying to kind of, it's all controversial. I don't know. Because I don't think they're really being honest. And even if they say that, you know, they've been doing it for 10 years, they probably haven't been putting that much effort into it. They've probably just been lifting the odd weight there and they just kind of, you know, whatever. But it doesn't look like they've really been serious at it. They haven't really done the research on how to do it properly. I mean, you don't really need to do that much on research and stuff, but a lot of them, you know, they barely look intermediate. That's, you know, the level of progress they've got after 10 years. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, they might look better than the average guy, but but it's like the average guy looks like shit. So it's not exactly a very high benchmark because most guys are pretty sedentary now. Yeah, exactly. Um, yes, 80% of free time is mad that, but I guess it depends on like it is a lifestyle, really, isn't it? That fucks up with my hair. It's just kind of yeah. Anyway, but uh, um, Yeah, so yeah, it's mad, but yeah, with the food and stuff like that, and it's just a lifestyle, but it's like, but it's gonna, make people feel better. That's gonna feel more, like you're gonna be able to be more functional in your day to day life. I mean, who doesn't want that? But a lot of people are just too lazy to actually get that, and yeah. But I think maybe it's just a lot of these people get popular because they'll say something like that they've been training for 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, whatever, and that's what they look like. But maybe that's just it's like I remember there was this guy who was saying that he had an elite level physique, elite level natural physique, and I understand the point that some people will say that his physique is mid, and that is not true. But at the same time, there is naturals that are bigger than him and would, as some people call it, mog him. Hello, light. How you doing? It's all I focus. My food is reality is improper, but my munches are uncontrollable. Okay. Yeah, I mean, to me, food. I just eat to live sort of thing. It's like I just eat whatever I need to do to in order to fuel my workouts and all that, and fuel my brain and my body. Like I'm not thinking about like, oh, I need to eat because for the sake of eating. Like I don't do that. A lot of people just do that. They don't see food as like just something that they need to do to get by but yeah, they just keep shoving food down, getting fatter and fatter, and just getting lazier and lazier. Because oftentimes what happens, they get fatter and then they just because they're sedentary and they have crappy diets, and then they probably become even more sedentary because then all that extra fat that they're carrying around, it's just they become sluggish and they just. But you have to get yourself to the point of realize that shit. I need to do something about this because my mum was like, things were getting bad. Like she was getting like issues with blood pressure and stuff, and obviously being overweight can really impact your blood pressure, especially as you get older. So yeah, but like I said, this whole inflation thing, I think, well, there is some truth to it, but it's like I think a lot of it's just this social media crap, and you get all these people trying to compete, and I think people are just bitter because they think, well, if I had that physique in the 2000s, then I would have been a star or something. I don't know, but the reality is that but people back then they didn't have as much access and knowledge, so you should probably be putting more work in. We've got to see it as a positive. It's a very weak mind mentality actually to this physique inflation and like it's giving people unrealistic expectations and standards and whatever. And but the thing is that you know the thing is a lot of these people that are on steroids, they're actually a lot of them don't even actually look that good, to be honest. A lot of them, it's because like what's happened is they've been training for a couple of years, 3 years, maybe something like that. And if they'd have stuck it out for a few more years, naturally they could have gotten that level of body. And yeah, like if not more. So it's just you get all these like young, like late teens, early 20s, whatever, and you see them and they're absolutely massive. And then the problem is that a lot of them will not massive, massive, but for the amount of time that they've been lifting, and and then they'll put out some fucking bullshit course or or I'll have some kind of, coaching or whatever, and I think it can be harmful, that stuff, because then it could cause some people to then get, you know, feel shit because they didn't get the results that the people were teaching them, like made out they could get like those big muscles in a year or two of training. So it can be harmful. Hello, Ezrox7408. How you doing? You just need to say who cares. Yeah, why not? It pings hungry, but mainly after training. Yeah, I find that like after I've been training, I get almost like I can get like almost like a ravenous sense of hunger if I've gone hard enough. To me, this is how I know that I've trained hard enough is I get hungry. Like if I do not get hungry, hello Louisa, hello Donald Voro, how you doing? If I don't get hungry, then I haven't trained hard enough that day. And most of the time I will get hungry. Like because I've trained like an absolute beast. So that way I know that my training's been effective. That means that I have, because it sent a signal to the body that we need to refuel. We need to, we need more protein and whatever. So to me, it's a good sign that I have done what I needed to do, and yeah. I can't wait to reach my goal and show everyone my story. I'm so close to it. Oh yeah, it'd be good. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, I'm not sure like how much bigger. I want to get to a point where people start accusing me of being a fake natty. That's what I want to get to. That's the level that I want to get to. Like you've got people like Jeffrey Verity Schofield, for example, who I believe he is natural, and he's been training for like a decade or so at this point. And the guy is massive. He's got like 18 or so inch arms. Like he's an absolute tank. Like, yeah, he's pretty much about as big as you can get naturally, I think. Like for the amount of time that he's been training, he probably could still get a little bit bigger. There's a few others I could mention as well. Uncommon Sense, he's another one. Bald Omni Man. Basement bodybuilding. These are all really jacked guys. Natural hypertrophy. I don't think he's really doing much anymore, but these are really like big natural guys. And so it's possible to become a tank naturally, but it takes time, Like, for example, you get someone like the age of, say, like Ziz when he passed away, unfortunately. I mean, he was actually probably smaller than a lot of these naturals that are, like these noble natties, if you want to call them that. But he wasn't really training for that long to get to that point, so he just rushed the process basically, and yeah, which unfortunately things ended badly. And it should be a cautionary tale to people, really, to be careful and not to just like, to be too quick to just jump into this kind of stuff, because it can be dangerous. But it's all about being persistent and grinding it out, even when things might seem to be slowing down a little bit. But you just keep persisting, and you just, see what your body's capable of. I'm not saying everyone should get into bodybuilding, but the thing is that people need to stop complaining about because standards have gotten higher. It just sounds like a weak mentality where people will then, they don't want to put the work in. That's what it is, But yeah, just the thing is, a lot of these, like, these young teeny like influencers who are on roids, it's like I reckon they'll probably, a lot of them, be irrelevant in a few years' time, if not less. Like, because that youth appeal, whatever, that'll go away, and then they'll just, especially if they're on roids, and then a lot of them will just end up getting found out, and then they just expose themselves as being like frauds, basically, and just whatever, or people just end up forgetting about them and moving on to the next sensation, like what will happen with this, Hussein Farhat. I mean, I don't think that guy's, I don't know, I don't think he's natural, really, but there's people saying that he is. It's just the time frame, like the amount of time, and then people are saying he's got 1 in a million genetics or something. I mean, it doesn't seem quite right to me, but I guess it's just in Greg Doucette's best interest to kind of cover it up or something, and that's what people are saying is happening. Most likely that he knows that he's not natty, but he doesn't want to say that because he's part of that, supplement bullshit. So anyway, but yeah, like it's just, we should be encouraging people to just embrace the grind, not to be taking shortcuts. If it takes you 5 years, 10 years, so be it. You gotta just try to learn to fall in love with the sport. It's like, I remember there was this guy called Tony Huge, and he was just saying, "Oh, why should I have to waste my time to try and get those results?" It's like, to me, it's just a very kind of, I don't know, like people looking for shortcuts, and because what that's telling me is that he doesn't like the training, he doesn't enjoy it, so he just wants the end result, but doesn't want to go through the grind, I think is what he's trying to say. But to me, it's like, it's better to, like, for things to take time. I think we have to learn to be patient in life. Like you probably appreciate that physique that you had to actually work harder for. I would have thought that took longer to get to, versus one that you rushed, because you took a bunch of juice. But it is what it is. You get these just really impatient people. But for some people, it's just their brand is that they need to be huge or whatever. But I don't know. But yeah, there's going to be more and more people that are getting into fitness. So, like, if you're, wanting to become a social media influencer with the fitness stuff, then you're going to need to be on another level, basically. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's encourages you to work harder, but then on the flip side, some people then might resort to taking certain substances as that becomes more normalized. And I think that is a problem that has become normalized in our society now, that there's a lot more talk about it. It's not taboo. It used to be quite taboo. And then people are very open now about their gear usage and even what compounds they're taking, like what cycles they're using and stuff, which I think can be a problem. Because I think that was something that, like, Noel Diesel were talking about how transparency about roid use could be a problem, because I think it was because of people being open about the compounds they're using, which might then encourage more people to take them. But people need to then warn others, saying, don't do this. This is, don't try this at home, kind of thing. But then why are you online? In a way, you are promoting it by being open about it, and by showing off your physique that's enhanced. So I don't know. It's I saw something about apparently like 1 million men in the UK are on roids. So that's about how many percent? That's roughly about, well, there's roughly about 35 million men. So that's almost 3% of the population of men are taking some kind of roids, which I think is pretty concerning, to say the least. What do you think? That 3% of men in the UK are on some kind of roids. I don't know if does that include TRT. I don't know, but to be honest, a lot of the TRT is being misused, and a lot of people. This is another thing as well with the TRT and people. Against people, finding shortcuts, and they're like, instead of trying to look at ways to boost their testosterone naturally, they're looking to, pharmaceuticals to give it to them. But yeah, that's just more money for big pharma, isn't it? That's the thing, right? Have you friggin'? I think they were saying the video was saying about, it was on Atlas Power Shrugged or something, and he was saying about about why TRT. He thinks it's actually more dangerous than steroids because of this kind of glorification of it. Whereas, yeah, there's still some taboos on steroids, but it's like TRT is seen as like the new natty, right? It's like, oh, I'm still natty because it's TRT, and it's not true though, is it? TRT is just, it's not really there is going to potentially be side effects, especially if it's misused, and oftentimes people get put on this that have no reason to be on it. For example, people like Hamza, who had testosterone, he said around 700, which is a pretty decent level of testosterone, especially for today's society. On average, it's usually around 600, I think. So it's actually above average, the testosterone levels, compared to like the average person. It's usually somewhere between about 300 to about 900, I think, is the reference range, something like that, if I remember. Which is, so if he's got 700 tests, it's not bad. So he's wanting to go on TRT, even though he had some muscles or whatever before that, and then he's just trying to build his muscles even more. I don't like, what is he playing at? What's his hands are really playing at with having to go on TRT? And you're saying, "Oh, I'm doing this TRT because I want to build the muscles that that our ancestors had." Hello, Mika. How you doing? I hope you're well. That ancestor had testosterone of 1,500. The thing is that even if that is actually true, is it a good thing though to artificially increase testosterone? And we know that increasing testosterone can, to beyond a certain point, can increase aggression, and I think beyond a certain point it can be a net negative. Yeah, having more testosterone can have some benefits up to a certain point, up to maybe say 1,000 or so. But when you get to a certain point, testosterone can then become, it can be something that can make you aggressive. Like, there is literally no reason for him to go on it other than he just wants to build more muscle and become more of a whatever Chad or whatever. Probably because he's deeply insecure. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people who are insecure, they will try and find some way to try and to offset that and try and give them a sense of masculinity. It's like nothing's ever enough. They're never satisfied. That's the problem. Is some people will just never be satisfied with what they have. But yeah, the whole kind of like red pill manosphere stuff. It seems to be just like, oh goodness, it's falling to pieces. This red pill bullshit, isn't it? Yeah, it's a compensating for something that they lack. I mean, it's kind of a bit embarrassing, really. It's like, yeah, like there was this. I don't know if he's, yeah, because even Greg Doucette's been been making videos on this shit, the whole friggin' Hamza situation. But from what I gather, I don't think both of them are innocent. To be honest with you, I do think that Sam guy, his editor, I don't think he's completely innocent either. Like, I do think that he's a bit of a snake himself, to be honest. To be honest with you, I think they both have egos and they both have their issues and when I say egos, I mean they both have their deep insecurities that they're trying to compensate with like material wealth and power and all that. So yeah, that's the thing so you got Hamza versus like his old editor, and this whole kind of this whole kind of like dominance hierarchy thing, I guess. It's just kind of really cringe. This whole thing of like him wanting to be seen as like above everybody else. So the thing is that he was already kind of like this before going on TRT, assuming that he hasn't been on it the whole time. But he's saying that about him basically like being a cult leader and all this stuff. So he obviously wants to dominate. He wants to have that authority. But then if he goes on TRT, then that could just amplify 10x. And he can just be like a complete like, and you can see what's been happening where he's just been really like doing some like questionable stuff like but yeah, it's just really, really cringe. Like the guy's had a massive fall off. It's an internet anarchist did a video on it a while ago and talked about how he lost 90% of his audience within just a few months, actually, which is really, really bad. And it's obviously, he didn't have the editor anymore and these people to help him, but it's like you wouldn't have thought that they'd have lost 90% of his audience so quickly, though. A lot of that, I think, come down to the fact that he was exposed as like being a grifter, and he was hello, Simeon King. How you doing? Hope you're well. It's like he was charging too much for like these things that he were doing. And because, these were kids that he's promoting to, it's like, okay, if they're adults and they can afford it, and it's like, but you have to be giving value though. But you get these kids that would be like probably wiping their parents' cards to do this shit because they just so much want to connect with the leader that they have, the self-improvement leader. So they're desperate, some of them. It's kind of predatory, really, isn't it, when you think about it? But he doesn't care. And the thing is, I remember he even said a while ago when I used to watch him, and he said that he is aware that his videos could keep putting out videos, it could keep people stuck in a loop of just constantly consuming content. So he was aware that it could have had some, consequences or something. But then there was a point where he was just going to he thought, I'm just going to get rid of all my, team, and I'm just going to pretty much almost just call it a day and just kind of put out the occasional sporadic video. That's all he said he was going to do. But then he changes his mind super quickly and starts uploading again regularly. And you think to yourself, like, what is he doing? Like, 1 minute he's saying he's going to do this. He said he was going to pursue something. He was going to focus on, starting a family or whatever. And then it's just, oh, see you later. It's like, how can you take someone like this seriously? How does he even still have followers at this point? Like, I guess they're just too kind of, I suppose it's kind of like how you get people like Logan Paul or whatever, or Mr. Beast, and they can survive whatever controversies come their way. They still have tons of viewers, especially people like Mr. Beast. It's almost like someone like Mr. Beast is just completely invincible because he's got his biggest most subscribed person, and there's all these controversies around him, but nothing ever happens. They're not going to delete his channel because he's such a big asset to YouTube. So that's the problem, is that YouTube doesn't give a fuck about that, because they actually will want him to stay on there, but yet they will penalize smaller creators for relatively less, for even not doing anything wrong. But because it goes against whatever fucking bullshit politics that they have, there's no net neutrality. It's all BS. It's like it's basically if you have enough of an authority and like you have millions of followers, then you can get away with a lot more. It's not a level playing field. Look what happened with that, Sniper Wolf, and she was like, I think she should have been banned. And it's just like, who even watches that shit anyway? I wouldn't ever watch her channel because it just seems like it probably be quite boring. I guess it's just a bunch of thirsty simps. I don't even think she's even that good looking, to be honest. But you get all these desperate fucking thirsty ass simps out there, fucking pathetic. They're simping over some kind of, someone like that there's really nothing that special about her. But gets all these simps, just it's just pathetic. These people have got nothing better to do than to just they probably a lot of them will just throw a bunch of money at them, and yeah. But it is the way it is, isn't it? We have so many losers in society. This is what I'm saying, is that if you're, I suppose, look, we have to think about it this way, that that we shouldn't really be comparing. I mean, we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to anybody else, but because on the one hand, if someone's doing better than you and you could feel inferior because of that, and if they're doing better in one particular area, on the other hand, most people just aren't really trying that hard. So why would you want to be comparing yourself to that? Why would you be comparing yourself to a bunch of, the average guy's probably like watches a bunch of adult content or whatever, or just isn't really that active. Probably just I don't know, just hasn't, not the best habits in life, not the most disciplined kind of person. So a lot of us should probably raise our standards. So yeah, the whole physique inflation thing is it's only bad for the people who, that are just bitter because they feel like they should. I mean, I've been probably guilty of this before as well. So, but we have to become more mature and just kind of realize that, that if people try harder then the average goes up. you know. But we've got to just, look at people who are doing better and then take inspiration from that. It's like if everyone starts to make more money, everyone learns how to be more efficient, more productive, more creative, and whatever. And instead of being like, these people are, you know, make me feel mediocre or whatever. Well, tough. Unless you're gonna, you should be learning from these people. Then learn how to work harder and smarter. Instead of just complaining that other people are, they're better or whatever. And yeah, anyway, I need the toilet, so I'll be back in a sec. Sorry about that, people. Anyone's still there? Hello, Revival 56. Yeah, maybe I'll have to think about that really, but anyway, hang on, who's this? Anyway, but just talking about the whole physique inflation thing, and yeah. So sometimes I do change my opinion on things, and you mature and you kind of hello Samuel. Um, no, I'm not gonna say that. Eh? Yeah. So yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. But maybe you have a point about it might be hard for people to find, but it's the handle that people would search it with. That's how people can find my channel. Um, yeah, that's why they have the handles, so then it makes it easier for people to find your channel. All right. So what do you guys think then? Yeah, yeah. uh, yeah, that's yeah, yeah. That's the reverse of that, isn't it? Yeah. There was a ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer. Yeah. So are you into like working out then or anything? Because the topic tonight is on the thing of inflated standards, but another thing is that you get these like kind of you will get like trolls and stuff who will just try to put down a actual genuinely good body, but there is a lot of guys out there that are just not really doing that good for people who have trained for so long, and then instead of taking responsibility, they then put out a video saying superheroes back in early 2000s. Well, you used to be a bodybuilder. Oh, really? So, what's your thoughts on this? Or not a successful one? All right. So, what went wrong then? Is it just genetics, or because the thing is that it's one of those things where you have to have certain genetics, like have to have a certain waist width and stuff like that, and some people just don't have the genetics to be like seen as like but I don't know like why it's seen as superior to have a really slim waist. I don't know. I don't see it really why it really matters. I mean, yeah, I don't know like what that's all about really. It's just family priorities. It's never genetics. It's always the amount of time you dedicate to it. Yeah, but some people arguably they'll just never be able to be like cut out for it. I guess in that case you would just never really go into it in the first place. Oh, well, it's like have you seen that Mike Israetel and like he's basically a failed bodybuilder, but it's like he's trying to like teach everybody like the science based approach or whatever, but it's like you get all these gimmicky exercises that just don't make any sense. Same with Jeff Nippard, just a bunch of nonsense exercises that don't make any sense, and it's just for the most part you can just stick to the basics and that just stick to what we know actually works. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with experimenting and trying different things out, but all it does is overcomplicates things and makes people confused. But it's like, yeah, we have more information now, but it's like a lot of it is garbage, though. Yeah, yeah. It's what's the question? I mean, there is some like yeah. How often do I touch grass with my feet? I haven't done that for quite a while actually, but I used to do it a few years ago. But it's supposed to be good for you, right? Hello, Cassidy Overco. How you doing? Not seen you for a couple of days. Yeah, grounding. It's supposed to be. It's meant to help some people with like chronic conditions. I've heard. I don't know how much of it's placebo or whatever, but is that something that you do then? It's like people saying that it can help with like chronic pain and stuff like that. But I don't. I'm a bit skeptical of like things like naturopathic medicine and stuff. But it's like I'm also skeptical of any kind of like even like big pharma as well. But I just find there's a lot of snake oil, but there could be some truth to it. But then I don't know. I don't know how valid these studies were that they were doing. We just have to kind of take their word for it and then did some stretching back roller work. All right. And about the rolling thing that they use, why would you be skeptical of something that our ancestors used to do? I mean, it could work. I didn't say it doesn't, but it's just not everything is. Some things are like may have been placebos and just some kind of like old wives' tale that just never really went away, kind of thing. And then they just kind of maybe they experience some benefit, but then they just. I'm just trying to like play devil's advocate, really, and just kind of say that that maybe there's a possibility that a lot of it could be down to placebo effect. I mean, yeah, shoes on our feet is probably not good. But in terms of the actual like benefits, maybe it varies from person to person. And it's just when people say stuff like they're pretty much almost saying that their disease is almost going to remission or something crazy like that. That's some pretty big claims. It'd be like someone saying that they'll take turmeric and then all of their inflammation goes away. Yeah, it might help a bit, but how much does it really help? Because I remember my mum said she took some, it might have reduced it by about 20%. So yeah, it might have took the edge off it, but um, but it's like in terms of how much it works for everybody, like there may be some differences from person to person, and there isn't a one size fits all a lot of the time, no pun intended. Um, what's that? Statistics. I mean, have you got any statistics that you can provide for that? Because I've come to realize a lot of studies can oftentimes be misleading, and people will cherry pick studies, especially if a study is industry backed. I think industry backed studies are 4 times more likely to find a positive result. So you have to look at, how is this study being carried out? Is there a meta-analysis that, then it could reduce the risk of biases because you're looking at, like a plethora of different studies from different people and, what have you. So there's less likely to be bias in there. And if there is, it doesn't really skew the overall statistics. But there's a lot of stuff that statistics can be used to deceive. Because I think there was a book on it or something, how to lie with statistics or something. But yeah, then it's no point if I tell you people who grow in the countryside are at a lower risk of getting a common cold than those who grow up in the city. Well, wouldn't that just be because they're less likely to interact with people who have the cold? I mean, like if you're in the city, then you have more chances to encounter someone that has a cold. That would be my thoughts on that. In fact, I think my mum was living in the what is it, a small little tiny town, and then she moved to a bigger town, and then she got more sicknesses, I think, something like that, and that probably was due to like starting to interact with those people again. think I want to get out of the city. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that living in the city is a good thing, but I'm just saying that correlation doesn't equal causation. We have to look at, like the variables, confounding factors, and things like that. Um, because oftentimes we'll see a result from a study and then we extrapolate things. So even if the study was legit in how it was carried out, that we have to remove the chances of any confounding variables. Um, it's like, for example, someone would say something like, vitamin D reduces the risk of a common cold or any kind of a lot of infections. But that being said, obese people tend to have lower vitamin D levels. Therefore, um, you know, then some people might say, well, it's because of obesity, which there's actually a mechanism for that, how that would be due to chronic inflammation and bad lifestyle choices, um, lack of exercise as well. And so my point is that like we can look at data from different studies and it isn't always conclusive because we would look at some like it's like the thing called epidemiology where you're looking for a correlation. This is where the whole term correlation does not prove causation. So just because, like for example, you could say going out in the countryside makes it less likely to get a cold. Therefore, the countryside causes you to get it's the countryside itself, but we can't necessarily extrapolate that. So I'm just saying that like we have to eliminate the chance of any confounding factor. Can't be an overthinker on everything. Some things are based in reality. Our grandparents used to fix diseases not by chance but by tradition. They knew something. I mean, yeah, I mean, like if they have a healthy lifestyle and all that. But like I said, this grounding thing, I don't know how much of a benefit. I mean, there might be some benefit for certain people, but like, I'm just saying that there's a lot of people that would hype up certain things and make it out to be some kind of miracle cure or something. I've seen a lot of this, a lot of BS being thrown around and people acting as though it's a proven thing. Like there's literally people claiming stuff like um, vitamin B17. Well, it's not even a vitamin, it's just something that they've made up as like saying that it supposedly cures cancer. And what do I mean by that? It's cyanide, basically. It's what's found in apple seeds or apricot seeds. And yeah, so what they'll do is they might have like found something and oh look, people who ate that stuff had less chances of getting cancer or something, but maybe it was just the fact that they were eating healthy and all that. I mean, well, I think there's just like the whole thing of touching grass is just like it can maybe make people feel more grounded and there might be a calming effect from that. Like, I think there is something to that of just feeling connected to the earth. And I've talked about like forest bathing before. I do think there is something to that. but because there was actually some study in a controlled environment for that actually. But anyway, hello Richard, how you doing? I was the first guy who said it all really. Oxygen, right. I mean, if you're in like a kind of, I mean, yeah, even heard about things on like like positive and negative ions and things like that, and getting out in the countryside could be good for you for that fresh air, and it's gonna be better for like you and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, but in terms of like how much can it really help? Because I don't want to just act like it's some kind of miracle cure or something. It absolutely is what? Sorry. The main study is about daylight and sunlight. What's this you're talking about now? Um, yeah, I don't know. It's like there's people who practice something called sun gazing, which is that's where it starts to get a bit ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts on all this? Because I think it could be a bit dangerous if people then just start doing shit like that, really. But um, yeah, well, 15 to 20 minutes of daylight per day, preferably sun, reduces cancer risk. I've heard about that because people are saying that, you know, don't go out in the sun or block your skin from the sun or whatever. But then what if absorbing some of these rays might actually, some say they might protect you from certain types of cancer. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's the dose that makes the poison. Like, if we can get the right amount, we don't get a toxic amount, we get just enough to be able to get the benefits from it. Um, I'm not believing in big pharma. I'm just saying that, like, yeah, there is alternatives, and I'm just saying that, like, I'm skeptical of everything. You know, I think it's healthy to be skeptical of all sides. Yeah, there's a lot of scammers out there. This is what I mean. You get people promoting grounding or whatever to then sell you some BS, you know? I mean, I'm not saying it's all fake or whatever, but there's oftentimes you'll get exaggerated claims of health and stuff because there's a lot of people who they follow all these healthy stuff and whatever, but then they still end up dying from cancer or something, you know? People who, it's like people promoting things like red light therapy. Um, so what's this research then? I mean, this is what doctors won't tell you type shit. Yeah, a lot of it can be a bit like clickbait and then trying to funnel you in to sell you stuff. Because they know that some people have a natural kind of, and I understand because I'm quite skeptical of doctors and like, trust me, I've been through all that stuff where I'm like, I don't take like medications because I don't believe in a lot of it. Like, yeah, because some people might think I should take it for like autism or something, but I did actually once try not cannabis. I mean, like, what is it called? CBD oil, but I just found it didn't do anything. So I can say like that. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is overhyped. A lot of the um, therapies and whatever, a lot of the time are they have exaggerated claims and stuff. And so you telling me that someone who's sick can just have raw garlic and then magic? I mean, I did actually tell someone to try having, what was it, lemon and ginger, I think I said as a suggestion. I think they said that it helped a bit, but they said it would kind of come and go. So they would have to like take it multiple times a day, basically. So maybe that's something that maybe people would have to do. And then, um, I mean, the thing is, it's like if it was such like a kind of like cure, why isn't everybody doing it then? I don't know. Like, why isn't everybody? If it's such a magical thing, then shouldn't everyone know about this and everyone would do it? Like, I'm just kind of like, I can't be asked with this. All right, all right, Pedro, how you doing? Hope you're well tonight. It's like, yeah, I could like Google or whatever, but I mean, it might, reduce the symptoms or something. I'm guessing. I have heard about what's it called, Allison, whatever it's called in garlic. But in terms of like, how much does it help? Maybe it can like reduce the symptoms somewhat. Like, there's a lot of things that people can do to help them. Like, exercise is good. Meditation is good for you. That can help improve immunity and stuff like that. And a lot of it's about lowering cortisol and stuff like that. So I tend to be more of like a kind of prevention is better than cure in a lot of cases. But well, go then, because I've kind of had enough. You know, it's like you're coming up with all this stuff in here, but then you're not backing it up. Like, if you're claiming something, then it's up to you to then say, "Oh, there's these studies and whatever." Worries can lead to stress and cancer increase. Yeah, yeah. Like, stress is a big thing, isn't it? Stress is a big killer. I just don't like it when people are then saying that I'm about that I trust in big pharma or something. You don't even know me, like. But yeah, whatever. I don't know. Maybe you can find someone that you know that agrees 100% with everything that you say. 'Cause it sounds like that's what you're looking for. So I hope you find that. But yeah, black and white thinking wants agreement. This is what I mean. I find it kind of obnoxious, to be honest. What I say is that oftentimes there's nuance with things, and yeah, I try to play devil's advocate and offer a more balanced perspective on things. It's like sort of talking about the physique and inflation thing in a more kind of looking at both sides of it and say like, yeah, there is some potential dangerous stuff like with, it might be promoting steroid use. But on the other side, some people are then using it as to cop out and just being like a victim and be like, instead of actually putting the work in. So yeah, some people just want to create an argument. It seems that's what I don't like when New Scientist has some good studies, right? Is that like a channel or something, or I don't know, but yeah. Like, I'm not saying that all that stuff doesn't work. I watched a video like on grounding, but I'm just like, what I'm saying is that how do you know that it's not placebo? Do you know that? I'm saying that there could be some benefit. How much of it's placebo? How much of it's a real phenomenon? Because we know that the mind can really sort of play tricks on us. How much of it is actually due to the effect of the grounding itself? And it could work. I'm not saying it doesn't. I have to keep looking to move house. That's a stress. Yeah, no. Yeah, any kind of worries are not good, is it? So why do you have to keep looking to move house? Like, what's that about? Monthly magazine peer review and articles, right? Oh, cool. Yeah, it's just you get a lot of cherry picked articles out there. I was just saying it as more of like a kind of cautionary thing of like that everything has to be like, you know, if you're going to make absolute claims on things, then you need to know like for 100%, is there some kind of meta analysis on it that's full of really like top quality studies? Because you can't just, what I've come to realize is that one or two studies just isn't enough, especially if the sample size isn't that great. And we also have to look at confounding factors. But all that stuff that I said seemed to be completely ignored. And it just sounds like somebody that I have to agree with them. Otherwise, yeah, I'm a big pharma. It's like the whole kind of us versus them kind of narrative, which I think can get a bit dangerous. And found the place, but that's no longer available. So back to looking again. Right, hang on a sec. Baby due mid-December, so I have to be out. Oh God. Well, good luck with that. Um, but yeah, just I don't know. I usually try to like offer a balanced perspective on things, a more what you call like diplomatic kind of perspective on things, like where you can look at both sides of an argument and take things from it. Usually, there's something to take from both sides of an argument. But when people are closed off but then if you don't completely agree with them, then they'll almost act like you're an enemy. It's like, for example, if say someone didn't agree 100% with everything that Tate says, then somehow now you're a blue pilled simp or whatever. Or it's this kind of like extreme viewpoints on things, and the frenemy dynamic. What do you mean? Just Linter and moving his colon less time for doing stuff around work. Yeah, that's true. Hmm. Yeah, what you mean the frenemy dynamic? You're on about the whole thing of like the two-faced kind of like 1 minute they seem sound and that they're like cool, but then suddenly they turn on you, and like it's almost like a bait and switch tactic or something, whatever you call it. I don't know. I don't know what these people are playing at. They just seem to be here to antagonize, and we've had people like that before, where they're just there for an argument. Um, I think I remember I was talking a while ago about free energy or something, and somebody come up in the chat and then tried to kind of argue about that it, technically doesn't exist or whatever, and um, them just trying to be kind of like um, contrarians and just trying to be awkward and just be very pedantic about things. And I mean, I can be guilty of that myself at times, but it was just getting ridiculous. It's like, okay, yeah, technically there is no such thing as truly free energy, you could argue, but we can, get pretty damn close to that. I think with just there is ways of generating electric and whatever and energy that independently. We don't need the grid to produce a lot, but it's like someone might just try and come up and say, "Oh well," they'll try and make some kind of argument, or for example, someone might argue in favor of a specific diet, and they will not listen to any nuance. For example, someone might say carbs are bad for you, or something like that. But if you were to explain that actually it's these empty calories that are bad, these, calories that are devoid of nutrition in the form of white sugar, that is bad because there's no nutrition in it. It's yeah, it's especially bad if you're sedentary and that you're, spiking your blood sugars high and you're not exercising. So it's kind of a friend or enemy. Which box do you? Oh yeah, the on about the. Are you going to bed? Okay, so yeah, the whole thing of like us versus them narrative. That's what happens with like these cults and stuff, where it's like you're either part of the good side or the bad side, and it's like, well, they create a false dichotomy, basically, of you're either on this side, you're on that side, but what if you fit into neither camp, but then they'll try and put you into the other side when you may not identify with that yourself. And like someone said, I'm a believer in big pharma. No, I'm not. I don't take medication. I don't do any of that. I don't believe in taking like a bunch. I mean, unless it's absolutely necessary, then I wouldn't do that. I used to take hay fever meds, but I haven't even took that for a while. I do have these hay fever wipes, but apart from that, I don't take hay fever stuff. I mean, I can just so that next year I'm probably just going to use them. Just going to use the wipes. So if I get like some of the symptoms, I can just use that to just kind of help me out. So if I've got like a get a runny nose or whatever, I can just use that. It helps to trap the pollen, and it just gets rid of it. But I don't need I don't need the. Well, there's a thing called antihistamines or something, but I don't know like what that could do. Because to me, thinking about it, it's like, could that potentially be a bad thing? I don't know. Could it mess with the body in some way? Who knows? As I don't know if there's been any studies on histamine on antihistamines, whether they could be bad for you in the long run. Has there even been enough time? I don't know how long. I guess they've been around for quite a while, but it's just I try to offer a more balanced perspective on things. That it's like with politics and stuff, and like people arguing about different things, like Like you've got people on one end that's like extremely capitalist, and then you've got on the other end that's extremely like socialist, communist side. But it's like maybe we can take some of both. Maybe it's like I do agree that things need to be fairer. Workers should have more rights. I do think that there is truth to that, and people are being exploited. But on the other hand, people should be able to start their own business and become an entrepreneur and whatever. People shouldn't have to like just all become part of some kind of group think of some kind of society or whatever. Because I think that's what they're trying to like get us towards. Of like everyone just becomes part of just some kind of agenda. Like communism is basically like, they'll say stuff like for the greater good, which, I do agree on some parts of like, say, if there's a certain policy that, we all have to agree on it. Most of us should agree that on a certain policy decision or something. And then it's like, that's what people want. So then it's like that. If that's what people want, that's what people get. But the problem is if a government has the authority to then tell everyone that that's how they should be living their life, that if, say, like the whole of the economy has been run by the government, that's what people think of when they're thinking of. I guess it's so there's different types of socialism, whatever, but I can also argue that, like, if you've set up a business and that you've took on all that responsibility, then if you hire someone, you shouldn't have to like pay them as much as you make. So I agree with that as well. But I think there should be a balance. I think there should be a balance in terms of like, because some of them sometimes they can take the piss. Now you could argue that sometimes the workers take the piss as well. Like some people saying that the whole, act your wage thing is like, but to be fair, I think that they have a right to do that because, hello Daisy, mate. I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you? Are you going live again later, or is that it for you? So I think there is I can understand, different perspectives on these things, like, because I think there is some people that are just genuinely just taking the piss, where it's like they're just doing nothing, turning up late, and then they're just like complaining because they lost a job or whatever. Like, or you'll get someone who says that because they've got ADHD, that they've got time blindness and that they can't always make it on time. But then it's like, well, that's not the employer's problem. That's your problem to sort out. So I can argue that, that what all that does is it just gives people with like neurodiverse conditions a bad name because it just makes them look like entitled, just pathetic. Because so I can understand different perspectives of things, like, but yeah, people are also being taken advantage of in work, and oftentimes people end up doing things they don't necessarily want to do because they're afraid of losing the job. So we have to find a balance where we have one more later. Yes. Oh, really? Yeah. You've been going live a lot lately, I've noticed. Yeah. You seem to do it similar to what Yogi does, where he'll do one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and then one at the evening. But he's is on like a bit earlier than yours. I don't think I've seen you on his lives for a while, but I don't know. Did you? I can't remember if I've seen you on there, but yeah, I must have seen you on there at some point. I think that's where I met a lot of you people. Usually, yes, 3, sometimes just 2 or 1. Yeah, I noticed you get a lot of you. I think you had 70 odd people when you was doing the walking around Florida or something. I think it was when you were on the beach or something. People seem to like those. Yeah, I looked there a lot in yogi. How come you don't chat there or something? I guess you just kind of. I notice you just oftentimes don't really talk a lot in chats. You just kind of hang out in the background or something. But yeah, but it's like he does the thing in the morning. It's just like he just. I don't know how many times he's done it, but he's like keeps on going through the Course in Miracles, and then he has like a certain sticker. He'll say stuff like, he'll always be like, "I'm just going to have my bowl of oatmeal. I always have my bowl of oatmeal with blueberries. Sometimes I have my bowl of oatmeal with walnuts, or just one Brazil nut." Yeah, beach ones get a lot of views. Just lucky, I guess. Someone was saying that it could be that some people are perving on people at the beach or something. I don't know. I mean, you are going to get some of those people out there, but it does seem to have like, accelerated your subscriber growth. So I think that it's working to like get more people in your channel or something. You're almost on 5K. Have you hit 5K yet? Yeah, I'm not too far off 4K myself, but yeah. My year has 52 weeks and 12 months for 48 weeks. That's not true. It's because it depends if you're talking about a calendar month or a 4-week month. Daisy May says yes yesterday. What's that? And about the beach thing or something. So yeah, it's like obviously if 12 times 28, that's going to give you 48 weeks. Because 12 times. Hang on a sec. I'm getting 12 times 28. So like that's 300 and let me think. 280 plus. Let me think. 28 times 12. So that's 336, I think. Yeah, so so it's 280 plus 56. So that's 336. 8 months have 31 days. January 31 days. March 31 days. May 31 days. July 31 days. What is it? August 31 days. September, October 31 days, and December 31 days. There's actually 7, I think, isn't there? But yeah, what are you trying to say anyway? What is your point? So some months have 31 days. Some months have 30 days, and then one month has 28 days or 29 days, depending if it's a leap year. Because like it's to do with how it takes 326.25 days roughly of like the Earth to go around the sun, unless you're one of these people that believes that the sun goes around the Earth. Like there's actually people that still believe that. Like say like your religious fundamentalists, some of them still believe that the sun goes around the earth. Now, to be fair, it kind of looks like that because it doesn't feel like we're actually moving. But that's because we're at a constant speed. So, but then again, I have thought about this and it's crazy because, yeah. But it's because like I mean it's where gravity. I guess gravity just kind of makes everything feel sort of like constant. I guess because yeah. Otherwise, we would be flung off the earth or something. But yeah, we get cheated out of a month of life a year. There should be 13 months. Okay, yeah, that was like the Gregorian calendar, was it, or something? But it doesn't have 364 days, but it's got one day missing or something. So that one wouldn't technically be true or something. Isn't it like the same as like a deck of cards? Because a deck of cards has 13 different values and then has four different suits in it. So it actually comes out to like, let's see, the total value of cards in a deck. So, I mean, if I remember, it was 364 or something. We might. Oh, it's 360. Oh, it's adding a joker would be 365, and adding a second joker would be 366 for a leap year. So yeah. So what would you do with like adding an extra day then or something? Like if you had 13 months, but then you'd have to add one in or something. Yeah. Add it to December. All right. Okay. I guess. I don't know. It's just what time we're on now. It's nearly 11 o'clock, so I'm probably gonna wrap this up. But yeah, anybody still there? But yeah, I can't be doing when people are like trying to just cause an argument. Now you could say I was trying to cause an argument by trying to. Well, I wasn't like saying that I disagree with what he said. Even I just was offering a more nuanced kind of to it, and I like to just kind of see like why do people believe what they believe? Why do they think the way that they think? Are they what do they what justifies what they believe sort of thing? Because a lot of people they just base it off of just opinion rather than yeah. Some people are strange, but I don't know. Did you see that guy there just then? Because it was all about starting about grounding or something, and I'm like, about touching earth and all that. And like I said, there might be some benefits for certain people. It's just I've just come to realize that I can't really trust anything that I see because I did see a video on it a while ago, and how do we know that wasn't just some kind of made up bullshit? But there does seem to be some evidence on it that, but sometimes people will exaggerate, and but then this guy made a claim that eating raw garlic cures a cold or something. I mean, electromagnetic discharge. What about it? Like, if that was the case, then wouldn't everyone do that or something? I guess maybe it's just, well, obviously, a lot of people wouldn't want to just eat raw garlic. I guess there's a way of preparing raw garlic in a way that would be kind of palatable, I guess. No one would just eat a clove of raw garlic. That'd be disgusting because I've heard it's got quite a pungent taste or something. Um, so you wouldn't really want to be eating just a clove of garlic unless you were, very brave. But yeah, so there'd have to be a way of preparing it in a way that you wouldn't notice it. Like maybe like I don't know how you would use it. I guess I don't know. Apricot seeds are better for you. Well, I was talking about there was this claim that supposedly that the apricot seeds and apple seeds that they were a cure for cancer, and they called it vitamin B17, which is basically cyanide, and it's just them saying that it's a pretend they were making out like that it can kill cancer cells, but is that really true? I don't really believe so, um, but I just think there's I don't know a lot of snake oil out there because I remember there was this thing called Miracle Mineral Supplement, and then there was this guy who ended up dying from cancer. And you think to yourself, he supposedly knew all these like natural things, and he ended up getting. I think he got throat cancer. I think because he smoked a lot of cigars or something, so he ended up getting throat cancer. And yeah, so nothing that I don't think there was anything they could do really. So all that knowledge that he had of supposed treatments, it's like I don't know. But you've heard about all this B17 thing, but again, maybe there is something to it for like more of like I don't know. Could it be more of like a preventative thing? Who knows? But it's just I just wouldn't want to be recommending stuff like that. Um, some call it amygdalin. A kind of pot makes your body 15 times more acidic. Where have you got that from? I mean, it could be true again, but yeah, it comes up here and says about it's a controversial compound that is not a recognized vitamin and is not an effective or approved cancer treatment. So yeah, basically, I would just be careful. There is, if you have too much of it, you could get cyanide poisoning. But then they say that you have to get like a lot of it. But maybe there's some benefits of eating apricot seeds. I don't know, but um, I'll Google it. Oh yeah, cool. Um, yeah. So like, it's just yeah. Just alkalize your body. Yeah. That's what they say about like alkaline diets and stuff, and not eating too much processed crap. Um, yeah. So yeah. But then there are people saying that like, but your body will automatically change your pH or something like that. But it's like your body can only do so much to like maintain a balance. But they're arguing that there's certain acids that we need in our body. So when you're talking about alkalizing your body, you're talking about like the blood, because it said that the blood is slightly alkaline. So yeah. So if your blood became like acidic, then like that would be bad. Is that actually possible? Let's have a look at that. Well, it's called acidosis, which can occur when the body produces too much acid or the kidneys and lungs can't remove enough acid. This leads to a drop in blood pH below the normal range of 7.35 to 7.45. Yeah, alkaline water. I don't know. I just feel like some of that could be a bit snake oil. There's a lot of people trying to promote alkaline water, and I've heard of easy water. That is where it's called H3O2. Structured water, it's also called, and there might be some benefits to that. Because I remember what they were watching. I think it might have been some like I can't remember if it was a TED talk or something like that, but it was an interesting one. It was something like that anyway. Or mineral water, right? Have you ever heard of easy water before? Called exclusion zone water. It's actually slightly different in molecular compound than regular water. It's H3O2, so it's got an extra hydrogen and oxygen atom on it basically. So it's structured water. It's a more it's got better like integrity or something like that. It's kind of like between a liquid and a solid kind of thing. It's like a more yeah. Anyway, so I'm having a look at like an inflammatory diet. Whether that lowers blood pH or something, an extra mineral. Well, it's H3O2. I wouldn't really call it a mineral, but it says about a pro-inflammatory acid producing diet typical of a Western diet high in meat, processed foods, and salt, and low in fruits and vegetables can lead to low-grade metabolic acidosis, a slight but significant decrease in blood pH within the normal range. Yeah, magnesium is a mineral, yeah. The body tightly regulates blood pH, but over time, an acidogenic diet can make the pH settle toward the lower end of the healthy range. So yeah, it's said to be like to stay within about 7.35 to 7.45, which is slightly on the alkaline side. 7 is neutral. But say you have like, they say though that even though lemons are acidic, that they alkalize in the body or something. Yeah, we do. Even if you have a healthy diet, there's oftentimes a lot of crap in that as well, pesticides and what have you. So there's not really any getting away from it unless you grow your own stuff, really, or you forage it yourself. But other than that, yeah, there's going to be some crap in it. But yeah, the best thing we can try and do probably is to sweat stuff out. Really, just get a sweat on, and maybe you can sweat some of the toxins out potentially. Um, but I've heard though that if you're sweating stuff out, you should towel it off because otherwise it can then get reabsorbed back into your body again. So, like for example, I've heard some of the estrogenics can be sweat out, but then again, I don't know how much of effect that really does have on testosterone because it gets ridiculous when you get these people saying that they won't touch a fucking receipt because it's got plastic on it. I mean, Are you for real? Like that? I don't know. At this point, I think they're just being so contrarian and just doing it for the attention or whatever, just to get more money or whatever. And uh, but there is certain things in our environment that are not good. So if we can like sweat some of that out, then that's good. I know that we can like sweat out like excess sodium if you're having too much of that, but yeah, none of us want to get cancer. It's rough. Like my stepmother, what was it? I think it was her auntie or something. She ended up getting pancreatic cancer, and she was only like 53, I think. So she wasn't even that old. Um, Sweat lodges are good. You know about like saunas or something? Um, While some toxins like heavy metals can be found in sweat, the primary way the body eliminates excess estrogen and xenoestrogens, estrogen mimicking chemicals, is through the liver, intestines, and kidneys, not sweating. Sweating is primarily the body's natural mechanism for regulating temperature, while regular exercise, which causes sweating, can help manage overall hormone balance and reduce body fat, which produces estrogen. The detoxification process itself happens through other bodily systems. Uh, so yeah, it doesn't sound like it really comes out in sweat very much or something, but I'm not sure. Like, let's have a look at how to remove it from your body. To manage estrogen levels, focus on a balanced diet rich in fiber, vegetables, and healthy fats while reducing processed foods, alcohol, and excess body fat. Additionally, manage stress through exercise and mindfulness. Ensure adequate sleep and limit exposure to xenoestrogens, which are chemicals that can help and mimic estrogen. Yeah, we'd already read that thing before, but consult a doctor for a proper diagnosis and personalized treatment plan, especially if you have a medical condition that as lifestyle changes support the body's natural processes but don't directly flush estrogen. Um, I'm talking like, like environmental estrogens. Because they talk about like forever chemicals and stuff like that, and how to rid the body of forever chemicals. Um, about like, but it said that having a lot of fiber can help to more sort of a preventative thing by binding to them and to pull them out of the body, basically. So like PFOS and stuff like that, which stands for perfluorooctane sulfonic acid. That's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Drink a beer and burp it out. Not really. I've heard beer is actually very high in estrogen. Yeah, and it's also causes an estrogenic effect just from alcohol because of the that's one of the ways that you can naturally increase testosterone is by limiting alcohol because if you drink a lot of it, it can. It's just, I think all the stress it puts on the body, it then lowers the testosterone production or something. And yeah, the thing is, a lot of people see like drinking beer as like a manly thing, but actually it does the opposite, which I find kind of funny, but kind of sad in a way. But yeah. I'm going through andropause. All right, I've heard about that, like a menopause, but it's like, it comes down to like how a lot of people, if they haven't really kept up with a good lifestyle, that can lead to a decline in their testosterone. But then if they keep up good habits, that their testosterone doesn't really go down by very much. Yeah, but I don't think that is something that is necessary for everybody. I think, um, like, how old are you, by the way, anyway? Because there's guys who are like in their 40s and 50s who have higher testosterone than most 20-year-olds. I have high testosterone low. 43, that's still fairly young. So, yeah. It's just a natural thing of getting older, but yeah. Yeah, a lot of people estimate me a bit younger than my age, so yeah. But I do a lot of the right things, like I don't, drink a bunch of alcohol and tank my testosterone. I don't, you know, stay up all night and stress and whatever. And I do things to try and optimize. And this is a thing, like I made a video earlier about the whole TRT thing, and it was just an AI thing that I did. But like, if you are looking at TRT, then it's like, are you optimizing everything you can naturally? Because the problem is a lot of people are looking for band-aid solutions instead of fixing other problems. Like, for example, if they have high body fat, because high body fat, because that happens with a lot of guys. They get older, they get the middle-age spread, they start accumulating a lot of body fat, and then their testosterone goes down. They start to get like, what is it? They start to get, ED. But then maybe part of that could be down to high body fat. The more body fat you have, the more, beyond a certain point, the more body fat you have, the more testosterone converts to estrogen. Like, yeah, so being fat is like an estrogenic thing. So like that's why, like when if you were to see like a woman who's like got you know a bit of fat on her, that can actually be sort of seen as attractive to a man, because women actually store fat in a more healthy way. If you're a man, you don't really want to be putting too much fat on because of how you store it differently. Whereas for a woman could be, say, 25% body fat, maybe even 30% body fat, and still be healthy, because especially if she stores it mainly in her curves, and you know what I mean, like that's gonna, that's seen as healthy. That's, it's a healthy. There's gonna be healthy hormones there. But if she gets too lean, that can then negatively impact hormones, especially if you're going down to like, as a woman, if you're down to like 15% body fat or something like that, that can cause hormonal imbalances in women. Higher body fat leads to more estrogen, which, it's going to, make them more appealing, more dimorphic. So that's why, as a man, you want to be low body fat, generally speaking. And if you're a woman, a little bit higher body fat, it's going to be more of a good balance. But obviously, we don't need to go to extremes. Like, there's no need for a woman to then fake it and get like BBL or something like that. You just have to kind of accept the hand you've got, but we don't want to be going too extreme, like the men who go down to like 6% body fat or whatever and promote that like it's healthy. Well, not necessarily. There might be the odd man that can maintain that and not have any side effects, but generally speaking, if a man goes below about 10% body fat, then that's when they start to suffer. Testosterone in men tends to peak somewhere between 10 to 15% body fat. And then, especially above 20, 25%, that's when you're probably going to see some drop. And a lot of older men, they might be getting 25, 30% body fat or whatever. If you're in America, there'll be like 30, 35%, some of them in their 40s and 50s, because it tends to go up as they get older. And then their testosterone goes lower and lower. So the point is yeah, like keeping a healthy body fat level as a man is something that you want to try and manage, as well as limiting alcohol intake. So if you, as a man, you are, drinking a bunch of alcohol and then you're also snacking a lot on crap and you just, yeah. I think I saw something about excess refined sugar intake and stuff and insulin, and I was looking into this thing. I don't know like how true it all is. Some said that I saw somewhere that there wasn't really a significant effect, but I was looking at this thing called SHBG, which stands for sex hormone binding globulin, which is it's said to like bind to testosterone. So what happens is it binds to testosterone and it transports it around the body. But in some people, apparently that can actually not work properly and can lead to having a decreased amount of free testosterone. So when you're looking at testosterone, you want to be looking at free testosterone, because total testosterone doesn't tell the full story. Free testosterone is what's important. So yeah. So that's the thing. So if you've got like, yeah, more testosterone, but then still the same amount of free testosterone, then you're not going to be any better off, is what I'm saying. More isn't always better. It's the quality of what you've got. Is it freed up? Is it bioavailable? Because it's like, for example, if someone was to take turmeric on its own, most of that isn't bioavailable on its own. But if you take something like black pepper, then it makes it a lot more available. It increases its absorption massively. So it's important that we, that we look at the different variables and like make sure that we can optimize. Because if we're missing one key ingredient, sometimes that really massively affect things. So we have to look at things in a certain context of Yeah. Um, but yeah, basically, what else increases testosterone? But yeah, getting the amount of sleep is important. I was actually looking into meditation because I would have thought like um, whether it increases free testosterone or not. But let's have a look. I would have thought it can at least help with like muscle building because um, of the decreased cortisol levels. But yeah, but oftentimes I'll look through it and it'll not give me anything conclusive. But it talks about a mechanism in like how like chronic stress increases cortisol. So high cortisol, it's going to decrease testosterone. It decreases a lot of the um, hormones. It says here about men that had practiced meditation experience higher testosterone levels. Of course, again, going back to the whole correlation doesn't prove causation, especially after stress exposure compared to those who did not meditate. So it can help to manage stress. It's one of these things that people do. Some people use adaptogens, but meditation can be a good way of improving your tolerance to stressors in life. Um, so we're talking about meditation versus relaxation, saying that it's um, more effective than relaxation in managing cortisol and promoting testosterone increases. So yeah. So there's this thing about, so we'll talk about alcohol. So it says here, a single instance of excessive drinking can reduce NPS, which stands for muscle protein synthesis, by up to 37% in the hours following a workout. So yeah, it talks about alcohol consumption inhibits the activation of key muscle building pathways and leading to a significant reduction in NPS, impedes recovery. It disrupts sleep quality, particularly REM sleep, which is essential for growth hormone release and muscle repair, and it hinders nutrient absorption. Alcohol can interfere with the body's ability to absorb and process essential nutrients like protein, vitamins, and minerals, which are essential for muscle growth, muscle repair, and growth. Affects hormones. It can decrease testosterone levels and increase cortisol levels, a stress hormone, creating an environment that promotes muscle breakdown rather than growth. Causes dehydration. Alcohol is a diuretic, and proper hydration is vital for muscle function and recovery. Dehydration slows down blood flow to muscles and can increase muscle protein breakdown. Oh yeah, so when you're sleeping, if you sleep with your mouth open, that can lead to more fluid loss, I believe. But I'd have to look more into that really, but yeah. Um but yeah, basically it says about do it several hours after you work out if you're gonna drink, allowing your body to begin the recovery process with proper nutrition. I would just say to try and not do it at all if you can. gives you the best chances of it. But you know, people will do what they'll do. You know, if you feel the absolute need, then you know, just moderate it. You know. Anyway, I'm gonna get going, guys. So I'll see you all later. Bye.